It's okay to outgrow your old self, outgrow your old environments, outgrow things that you feel are not in alignment with who you want to become or who you currently are. You know what I mean? Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. We are back with another video, and today we are talking about change. I feel like I've been going through so much change recently that I just want to talk about it on my channel and connect with people who are also going through a lot of change or doing a lot of inner work as well, because I feel like that's what I'm going through. So if that's you, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video, okay? I used to think that I knew myself, but in reality, it was the people and the environment that I grew up around. It wasn't the real me. It was who I thought I was. It was just who I became to fit in. And for the longest time, I didn't even realize it. Let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start this video off by kind of telling you a story on why I decided to change or what influenced my change. I want to be more selective with what I say, so I kind of wrote down this story and I'm gonna be reading it from my laptop. It's not gonna take too long, probably about 2 or 3 minutes, just to tell you guys my origin story and why I wanted to change. So I grew up in an environment where things felt, I guess, stagnant. The same people, the same conversations, the same mindset. Everything was about survival, scarcity, and staying in the box that people constantly put you in. Being around it for so long, I never even questioned it. I was like, well, I guess this is just how things are. Like, I never questioned it. Something inside of me just felt kind of off these last few years in my 20s. And even though I had known these people for years, whether that's friends, family, acquaintances, whatever it is, I had known these people for years, I still felt misunderstood in a sense. I still felt like I didn't have anybody close to me. I still felt so strongly about just the way that life was going with the people that I had around me. Like I said, I always felt misunderstood. The events I was going to, the way I acted in public, even the relationships I had, it just didn't really feel like me in a sense. The turning point in the situation happened one random day. Everything changed. I was in a really bad car accident. Thankfully, I was able to walk away unhurt. I wasn't the driver, I was the passenger. And I just feel so grateful that I was able to walk away with barely any scratches. That was just such a pivotal moment for me, because it's like you realize that your life can be taken from you at any moment. Sometimes you're not in control. Sometimes it's an accident. Your life can literally flash before your eyes. And I felt like that was, that's what I was experiencing in that moment. Like, it felt like my life flashed before my eyes. And I really couldn't believe it. I'm not gonna lie. I could not believe the whole situation, but we're gonna save that story for another day. In the moment, I realized how fragile life is, and I thought, this is the kind of moment where you see who is really there for you. These are the kind of moments where you're able to analyze situations and see who really has your back, to be honest. I wrote here, the person I wanted to be there for me, the one that I thought would show up, didn't. In fact, they actually turned against me. They looked at the situation through the lens of scarcity. Like, if she gets something, I may not get something. You know what I mean? Like, it was very scarcity mindset coded, okay? They looked at it as if my pain is somehow taking away from them. Yeah, I just realized that I wasn't around people who genuinely loved and supported me, and the accident just brought that to light. And honestly, it felt like that realization hurt more than the accident ever could have, because imagine being so close to somebody for so long and you expect them to just be a certain way and they're not, and losing that can be very hurtful. These situations led me to where I am today and the changes that I made. I knew that I needed to change. I didn't want to live in a world where people were driven by scarcity, jealousy, fear, lack, and just things like that. I wanted people in my life who believed in abundance, who thought, I don't know, like there's enough for all of us to win. Just because she's winning doesn't mean I can't win. You know what I mean? That's the kind of people that I wanted around me, which I feel like I'm slowly building more, and I get closer to people who are just like that, who have integrity, who look at, life from a glass half full rather than a glass half empty type of vibe. I realized if I wanted to attract those people or become those people, I was gonna have to change. And I was just gonna have to become that kind of person myself, because when you're around so many people who don't have the characteristics that you necessarily desire, it kind of emphasizes all of those qualities in somebody, and it makes you like, whoa, hold on. This is not who I wanna be. This is not who I wanna be around. If they say you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time around, I hope they're good people. Let me tell you, change has not been easy. This happened in 2023 now that I think about it, and it's 2025 now. So the change over the last year and a half have not been easy. I wrote, especially when you grow up in an environment where you're conditioned to think a certain way or act a certain way, it's like you're trying to rewire your brain after years of bad habits and limiting beliefs. You start to question everything. Your choices, your relationships, your everything, even your identity at some point. You start to question, like, is this who I am? Like, if I'm constantly around these people, is this what I act like? Is this what I look like in public? Is this how I am perceived, I don't know. It's just hard to let go of the comfort in familiarity and just like having the same routine, having the same things. It's so hard to let that go. Even if it's holding you back, sometimes you still don't even let it go until like you're forced to. And I feel like this was my forced to situation, because there were other instances where I kind of like looked sideways or had second thoughts, or there were other instances where I questioned the relationship. But here's what I learned. Change is worth it, even if it's scary, even if it hurts, even if it requires loss, even if it requires you to reparent yourself and reparent your mind and just change your entire way of being. Even though that's not an overnight thing, you can't just wake up and be a different person. I mean, you can, but it's going to take a few days to really still be that person, because I feel like who you are when no one's watching is really who you are. You can put on a facade, you can do things all day to act like you're somebody, but if you're not this person in private, it's gonna show eventually when you have people around you, when you get into a relationship or long-term friendships, or even the internet can pick things apart and make things seem candid in a sense. Like I said, even if it's uncomfortable, change is worth it. It's freeing. I had to unlearn so much, and I'm still unlearning things like scarcity mindset, people pleasing, and just the idea that I'm not allowed to take up space, because I'm allowed to take up space. And it's been such a hard realization to come to, but once you realize you can do what you want, be who you want, act how you really want, it's easy to change almost. I had like the most change last year, even though it was a rough year, even though I lost friends, even though, there's just things put up against me, but I still changed in spite of everything that I was going through last year. It's all on my channel, so if you guys want to go back and binge watch some videos, go ahead, because it's so much tea in my videos. Like, you'll really understand the type of person that I am if you just go back and watch all of my videos. So I say all this to say, I told you this story to tell you, if you are feeling stuck or feeling like you're surrounded by people who don't really see the real you, I want you to know this. You don't have to stay where you are. You can change your environment, you can change your life, you can change your self-concept, you can change your city, you can change your hair, you can literally change anything about yourself that you want to. And I want the people in my community to understand that they can be who they want to be. Ultimately, they can be whoever they want to be. Sometimes when you're around people who aren't too receptive to change, it can stunt your growth. Always just make sure that the people around you have positive intentions and no one is secretly having the evil eye. Let's talk about how I'm preparing to experience continuous change, okay? Because change is eternal. You're literally gonna change. Your entire life is going to be rooted in change. You're gonna get older, your body's gonna change, your style is gonna change, your vocabulary is gonna change. So many things about you are gonna change. And I'm just trying to prepare myself to be receptive to it and not stay stagnant in where I am in my life or my thoughts and career and just patterns and being. I want to be able to change freely without judging myself. This is how I'm preparing for change. 1, I'm reframing how I look at change, okay? I'm not looking at it as a bad thing. You know how some people be like, you changed. Good. You better be glad I changed, because if this was the old me, you'll get knocked out for saying that, okay? I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing. So yeah, like, change isn't about losing yourself. It's about constantly evolving and accepting that you're always going to be changing. Things around you are always going to be changing. It's never going to stay the same. Never, okay? Another part of that is when you change, make sure you're changing for the better, because sometimes people can change for the worse, okay? Let's not sit here and act. You could change and be the worst version of yourself, okay? I'm not above any of that. People crash out all the time in the worst ways. So looking at change as I'm changing for the better and not like, oh my God, it's change. You know what I mean? Like, we're changing for the better, to better ourselves, our situations, etc. Number 2, I'm gonna use small practical tips that help me acknowledge the change and help me I'm just using small practical tips because I feel like these are some of the ones that are rooted in change, in my opinion. The first one being self-awareness. You have to evaluate what is and what isn't working for your life, so then that way you know what to change. If you have the self-awareness, then you can take a step back and be like, you know what, this relationship isn't working for me. This environment is not working for me. You should be able to have the self-awareness to know what needs to change about yourself. Is it your smoking habits? Is it your sleeping in late? Is it you're being late for work? What are the habits that you need to change? Another practical tip, setting small goals to contribute to the desired change. So if you want a 6-pack, obviously you're working out every day. If you want to stop drinking so much coffee, you're gonna have 1 cup of coffee instead of 3-4 cups of coffee throughout the day, okay? If you want to get your degree, take a certain amount of classes this semester. You have to break it down into steps and make it small so that it's more attainable, and then every day you can see the needle moving. You can see where you're going to progress or where you are progressing, because every single day you are changing and doing things to contribute to the overall change, and that is breaking it down into small steps and goals. The last practical tip that I'm going to be doing is to seek inspiration, whether that's a book, whether that's a freaking crossword puzzle, Sudoku, I don't care. Seek inspiration, mentors, going to church, working out, whatever inspires you, seek the inspiration to be better, to change, or just go somewhere where you feel different, where you're not the same person, so you can kind of embody another character, be somebody else, you know what I mean? So yeah, seek inspiration. The small practical tips that I'm using throughout my days are the self-awareness, setting small goals, and seeking inspiration. When I tell you I'm seeking inspiration every day, y'all, I started doing this crossword puzzle. I am addicted. I'm having such a blast. I feel like an old lady. It's just like teaching me random cities and in countries that I never even learned about, like art stuff, color palettes, just a whole bunch of stuff in here. And this has been my favorite pastime. And for some reason, it's inspiration for me because I know it's going to strengthen my brain chemistry, okay? I know it's going to help me develop critical thinking skills. So I'm very excited about this crossword puzzle book. There is 160 in there, so I'm about to eat it up, okay? But anyway, so yeah, use those 3 practical tips to contribute to your change. And then lastly, I had to learn why I was afraid to change. What was it that was making me so scared to change? I couldn't figure this out for the longest time. Once I started analyzing more, I realized that negative thoughts were keeping me stagnant. I notice when I'm having any negative thought patterns, whether that's like, this won't work for me, this is so unlikely, I'm not lucky enough, whatever the negative thought is, I change that to a positive one immediately. And you know how hard that has been, especially consistently practicing that? When you have, like, for instance, if I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so fat, or if I think that in my head, I immediately have to follow it up with, you know, I'm so beautiful, I know that I am perfect the way I am. You know, I have to follow it up with positive self-talk or positive thoughts in general, because it's just low vibrational. I don't know how else to say it. It's not encouraging me to change, and I need the change. Give me the change. But anyway, and like I said, when I have to turn those negative thoughts into positive thoughts, even if I'm secretly thinking to myself, like, what if this doesn't work out for me? Like, what am I gonna do? X, Y, Z. I immediately follow that up with, like, why wouldn't it work out for me? What if it works out better than I ever imagined? Growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. And that was just like something that I had to think about in order to change myself every single day, is learn why I was afraid to change. And a lot of that is through the negative or the self-talk that you experience. So that's something to take into consideration when you're focused on everyday change, is looking at how you're talking to yourself, okay? So just to sum this video up, okay? I obviously told you my story about getting into an accident, losing friends, thinking that, you know, they were going to be there for me when they turn on me. And then I go into detail about how I'm preparing to change my mind continuously, because change is continuous in my humble opinion. Part 3 basically is how I am embodying change, what I'm doing to change. And honestly, I'm doing everything that I want to do, because before I would not do that. I would call up anybody and everybody. Do you think I should do this? What do you think? What do you... People pleaser, let it go. People do not know what's best for you, and that's a hill that I'm willing to die on. People will never know what's best for you, and only you'll know what's best for you, okay? So, I'm gonna conclude this video with saying that it's okay to outgrow your old self, outgrow your old environments, outgrow things that you feel are not in alignment with who you want to become or who you currently are, you know what I mean? And I think that is something that I've always struggled with, but now that I'm finally gaining a better sense of self-concept, I'm able to really understand that I don't have to put up with nothing. okay? This is all about me. I can change in any way that I want to. If I want to change my name, if I want to change my hair, if I want to change my city, I can literally do anything that I want to. And I just want to encourage other people to do the same, because I know what it's like growing up in a bubble. You know what I mean? Where everybody's the same, nobody thinks outside the box, and etc. So yes, it's just all been a part of my growth journey. I'm super, super excited to just see how I continue to evolve, how I continue to change, how I continue to just meet people who are in alignment with everything that I have going on, my lifestyle, my interests, my just everything, you know? So I want my followers to experience that as well. Everybody can experience that, okay? There is enough for everybody. And that's just what I'm learning, which makes me so happy. I'm like, there's enough for me too? Okay. Let's get it then. Let's get it. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button. What's one small change that you are making today? Let me know in the comments so I know that I'm not alone. I know everybody want to change. Let me know what the changes that you're making, please, okay? I just want to close out with saying change is really like a gift that you give to yourself, and don't be afraid to change into who you want to be. That's what the lesson of today is. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.